unsung narrative. Young, dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday with the Fellas. Little sports nonsense and whiskey. Robert, Pinky, how are we doing this evening?
What's up?
We're doing fantastic. It was a really great weekend for sports. Can't remember how amped I was, until it was, F1 season. I was like, man, I don't remember getting up this early and getting this pumped up and having this much anxiety for a game on a Sunday morning.
Gross.
I don't know what you're talking about, Pinky.
I didn't have what anxiety? There was no anxiety.
This
40...
coming from the dude rooting for Canada, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold on.
The man that will not root for the U.S. in the World Cup and was rooting for Canada in the gold medal game.
I think he's broken. Can we return this Pinky and get a different one?
Nope. Not at all.
Jeez, guy.
Hey, somebody's got to root for the bad guys.
Yeah,
dude, they came for our country. We go for that. That doesn't. It's not a friendly thing anymore. It's not it's our friendly neighbors to the north. No, they came for us, and we don't stand for that shit.
My man's rocking
Period.
a Jayhawk jersey with an American flag on it, talking about rooting for Canada.
Right, this fucking guy.
Wait till we get to World Cup. Deutschland, baby, let's go.
Deutschland über alles. Yeah, I gotta get my kit here pretty soon. I gotta buy my jersey.
You're both so gross for that. You are Americans.
Hey, America is second. Germany's first.
No, it should be the other way around.
Look, I've gone through most of my life with America sucking, so I'll happily adopt my next heritage, which is German. And I just so happen to live there, pay German taxes and everything and whatnot. So I have enough justification to support them. Period. And I still have family over there. So it works out.
Nobody is saying you can't support them. I'm just saying if the two happen to play each other, your allegiances should be very clearly defined on one side, and they're not. That's the problem.
It's a 50-50 split. I won't be happy or sad either way.
I don't believe that for a moment.
America ain't doing nothing in the World Cup, so it's gonna be fine. You ain't gonna have to worry about it.
He's got a point. He does have a point, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, boys. So we already kind of started talking a little bit about it. The Winter Olympics just concluded.
Hey,
Milan, Italy. Wax poetic about it, boys. What happened? Besides the hockey we'll talk about, but
the women's figure skating's back on top for America. That was nice. Alyssa Liu, awesome, and she's an anime fan as well. So I'm happy for that too. That makes me happy. So whenever nerdom also gets a platform on the mainstream, my heart smiles. Probably got to see the most badass skeleton helmet I think ever. With the Venom helmet, that's just.
It was pretty badass.
It was badass. It didn't help him go faster, but it was awesome. I really appreciated it.
You know what I learned this year about bobsled and skeleton and all the things in that family?
Pray tell.
That I did not know before.
Pray tell. Tell the people.
I thought there was a manufacturer that you would go to and have your sleds built.
Oh.
They kind of built these things, right?
I didn't know this.
No, these countries build their own equipment. It's like F1, NASCAR. It is racing, and you are building your own thing to the specifications of that event. And the Germans apparently have the elite of the elite sleds when it comes to their precision in which the way they're built and the way they're designed, which I found fascinating because I thought, it's hockey. There's a couple people that make sticks, right? Skating. There's a couple people who make skates. If you're playing hockey, you're probably wearing Bauer skates. If you're wearing figure skating, there's probably another one you're probably wearing, right? Like everything has their own kind of manufacturer. Bobsled, from what it sounded like, does not have that. We're on the very opposite end of the spectrum. Every curling stone in the world in existence that's played comes from a quarry in Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. One quarry in Scotland. Yep. Every single curling stone.
All those stones. Yeah, that's crazy to me. That
not just the Olympics, everyone. Every single one on the face of this planet that's played in competition is from that quarry.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
That is
so
crazy.
Like insanely opposite ends of the spectrum, but really cool little tidbit that I picked up this Winter Olympics. And I watch the Olympics every 2 years, but winter every 4. I love them. And I
the Winter Olympics I think are far better than the summer.
I did learn something new about the bobsled, that the women's bobsled team, for all involved, those ladies got fat asses and thick thighs. Let's go.
Yeah, my mom actually works with one of them, or with one of the older ones from like 2012 or whenever. Yeah, mid 2010s. She was on she used to work with my mom at Fort Carson. She was on the second team. It was pretty crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thick thighs, big booties.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
Pinky.
You know what I was watching? I did see way too much women's curling. Women's curling happened to be on at like 6 a.m.
I was just going to say, overall, I would say there was too much curling. And that's coming from somebody who absolutely loves
Right, I was like, wait a minute. Curling's been happening since day one. And it's gone the whole freaking tournament. Like,
feels like there are a lot of other things that could have gotten a little more run that didn't.
6 a.m., because Good Morning Football was on hiatus last week with the Olympics on, that it was literally curling was on at 6 a.m. every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of curling.
My wife learned a lot. We learned a lot about curling together. Probably
do
more
love
than
my
we
curling,
wanted to know.
but even I thought, given as many sports happened, that there was a little bit heavy on the curling. Half pipes were both insane. Skiing,
I don't know. I was really disappointed. Like I just felt like there was a lot of. You didn't get to see a lot of people do their good runs. Like a lot of people like crashed a lot. The weather conditions weren't always great. I just felt like this wasn't a great year for half pipe.
I mean, I disagree. The winners put down some of the best runs you've seen in the last couple of years with some of the tricks they did. So,
I mean,
regardless of what everybody else did, the winners still put down runs that were going to be winning runs regardless. Not very many people in the field are able to do the same level of skill set to, even if they put down their best run, be able to score as high as the winners ended up scoring. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. There was a lot of that, but in the end, I don't think it matters. You got to see some pretty spectacular things done on both two plank and board. So, love that. I wish they would have shown a little more of the ski jumping. Felt like that didn't get quite enough run. Both the aerial and like, I don't know how to say it, ski jumping, long jump, which is just ski jumping. But both of those I think are awesome. And I didn't see hardly any downhill mogul, which has 2 jumps in it, plus the moguls, and you're racing people. That's awesome. And I didn't see a lot of that. So the only one that I
saw was the recap when the dude landed backwards and finished the race backwards. That was the only one I got to see, and I was like, "Oh, cool." Yeah, but I wish I had more of that instead of curling, like you said.
NBC doesn't do a very good job of covering the Olympics. How they continue to have the coverage baffles me. It's almost like nobody else wants it, and NBC just keeps taking it.
Right. I don't know if a lot of networks want it.
I don't know if a lot of networks can support it.
Well, any network can support it. NBC used 2 channels on primary television, USA and NBC.
At this point, we should just have ESPN do it.
But ABC could run with it easy. Fox has Fox Sports, just as easily. NBC had NBC Sports. They didn't even really use that to cover the Olympics. They try to get everybody to go on their platform, which is stupid.
However, it is also something like who broadcasted the Super Bowl? NBC.
Well, that's
they
rotating every
True.
year. Everybody gets to touch that. It's just the way that works.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know. So some things they do well when they cover it, but as a whole, I don't feel like they cover it very well at all. Now this, on the other hand, Canada's going home with 2 silver medals. And let me just start by saying this. Canada, I feel you. Having the medal ceremony on the ice immediately following the game is a joke.
No, it's not.
It's just stupid.
No, it's not.
But yes, it absolutely is. But to take it a step further, Italy in the Olympics deciding to hand out little teddy bears.
That's awesome.
I can't remember what they're called, but they're basically in the ferret family, but they're not in the ferret family at all, but they sure look like it. And not only did everybody have to sit there and wait for their silver medal, but then you had to sit and wait for somebody else to come by and give you a little teddy bear and shake your hand again. Was
epic.
Hilarious.
I loved it.
It was hilarious.
I support it.
And not in a good way. Not in a good way was it hilarious. It was hilarious and like how did you get somebody in the room making these decisions thinking this was going to be a good idea? Something that they could buy at the gift shop, you're handing out to them like it's some kind of reward. So hate that. Hate everything about the way they did that ceremony.
I mean, I loved the faces of everybody. Like, what the hell is this?
Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. I thought that was a joke. Everybody else at least gets a moment to like breathe. You have to stay right there. And
what do you mean? No, they don't. Whenever there's a gold medal, whatever, you're there right after the race is over. Give it 10, 15 minutes like normal, but you're right there getting your silver medal.
You get a chance, like even figure skating, you get a chance to get off the ice, change, put a jacket on, get some water and stuff.
I mean, they have the same opportunity.
Canada didn't get to leave. The way they did hockey, both men's and women's, you had to stay on the ice, and then they brought the third place team in from off the ice. They walked them in on a red carpet. But on the winning side, I also hate it because the winning team doesn't really get a chance to celebrate the way that they should. Because they got people coming in trying to set up and put people in line and this, that, and the other. Get there for a photo, do that. Like, I thought that was dumb. But boy, it was fun to watch the USA win both games. And the way the men's team won, oh man.
Connor Hellebuyck
great. Gave an all-time clutch performance.
The Secretary of Defense.
Any sport, period. Any sport, any finals, anything. Connor Hellebuyck just gave you an all-time clutch performance. And that save he had on Taves was an all-time clutch moment. Be able to get his stick on that puck and force it out.
Amazing.
It was just without him.
That was elite. That was elite IQ right there. Like,
man,
absolutely insane.
Pinky, rooting for Canada. How did you feel all game?
I could really care. It's the Olympics, man. I don't really care, but I got up and I watched and I took it in with everybody, and somebody had to play the villain, and I was okay doing that, and it didn't affect me one way or the other. Like, I'm happy for you guys.
Somebody had to be the villain. Why?
Wait, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody was rooting for United States, so I had to root for Canada.
Because we live in America. And technically, we were the villains because Canada was the gold medal favorite. Not us.
All other countries in the Olympics are considered the bad guys, and the U.S. is the good guys. And hey,
what?
I was rooting for the bad guys.
And
that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't again, for the Olympics, you guys know I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's just a weird choice. That's all.
My brain can't comprehend what you're trying to say and justify. It just doesn't work.
I'm glad you feel that way because now you know how I feel when you guys start talking about the World Cup. But I digress.
Hey, I still support America when it
the
comes to the
US
World Cup. They just suck. So
the
I don't have to
US
worry about it till we're out of the group stages because they don't move on. So like then I can actually support somebody and have and care.
The U.S. is able to make one more play than Canada. And when I say one more play, I literally mean one more play. Because they get the goal in the first with that Brady. I'm drawing a blank
Brody.
on the.
I think it was Brody.
He splits the two Canadian defenders somehow by lifting the puck up and over, and then kind of breaks away a little bit and scores. That's one, right? Well, Canada equalizes that and gets one back. So now we're even. The amount of opportunities they had after that to take a lead is crazy. And that's why I said Hellebuck is all-time performance. But one that sticks out, obviously, is the Taves save, but then also the McKinnon shot that misses a wide open net. And McKinnon's a sniper. That does not happen. And the only way I can explain that happening is somebody who's watched his whole career because we are Avs fans. Is that's how good Hellebuck was. McKinnon was he had a wide open net that he hits every other time he takes that shot. He missed that one though because Hellebuck was so good. He felt like that's the way I'm explaining it to myself at least, that he had to hit that tiny little hole, that tiny little window to make sure it went in when he didn't have to. And he yanked it because of that. And he went wide left, hit the net, and USA got super lucky there because that, like, the pass, I believe it was from McDavid, to get it over to him was absurd. And for him to have that wide open of a net, again, McKinnon might be the best goal scorer in the NHL right now, which means arguably in the world. And he doesn't miss those kinds of shots. So you gotta, the only way you can think of it is the way Hellebuck was playing. It was so good. McKinnon was trying to hit that tiny little window that he didn't have to do.
Do you believe in miracles?
Unbelievable.
It happens, man.
Wild.
I hate Bennington, the goalie for Canada. So I wasn't too upset seeing him give up a couple because I don't like that guy at all. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't like Bennington at all. Never have. So F that guy.
And then obviously the play that the U.S. is able to make that Canada couldn't is Jack Hughes' goal in overtime.
With a busted mouth.
No doubt. Another great pass that gets to a wide open guy, and this time Hughes is able to finish and capitalize, which is wild because his journey, like number 1 overall pick, hasn't necessarily lived up to expectations. He comes out and looks like one of the best players in the world during this tournament and then ends it on a golden goal. I mean, stars are looking up for him, right? Like, very much so.
Which, are you a fan of the 3v3 approach?
Hate it.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I hate it, period. Anytime, ever, always. I hate PKs. I hate shootouts.
So, in the playoffs, they don't do that. It's 5-on-5 sudden death. To me, why they do it in the regular season in NHL makes no sense to me. Just 5-on-5 sudden death, just like you would normally in the playoffs. Like, let's just do that. But it's a way to try to get it's trying to get the overtime game over.
It ends it much quicker usually, yes. So that's why they do it. But the Olympics should have known better. At minimum, the gold medal game should have been 5-on-5 at minimum. But what really should have happened is once they got into elimination games and they weren't playing round robin anymore, they should have been 5-on-5 sudden death. That's what it should have been. And they, for whatever reason, decided not to do that. Everybody knew the rules going in. So Canada won a game with the 3-on-3 and didn't say shit. Then they lose a game, just happens to be the gold medal game, and now they can't stop talking about it.
They were being some whiny bitches after the game. Like, take that.
A little bit of the sore loser syndrome, a little bit of that weight of that pressure that was on all of them to win, I'm sure. And we'll see what happens as the days, weeks, and months and years to come happen. But I mean, they got to feel like Russia did. They let one get away from them. They played. I mean, if we're being honest, probably as the better team the entire game from start to finish.
I mean, they had almost
The
40
scoreboard
shots on
just isn't
goal.
going to show that. Huh?
They almost had 40 shots on goal. Like
42, I thought, and the U.S. had 28. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to argue that in those two games, the better team did not win. But that's one of the beauty of sports, right? Is it doesn't matter who the better team is. It matters what the scoreboard says at the end of the day.
It matters who's the better team that day.
So
they had 48 chances and only capitalized on one of them. Sorry.
So
yeah,
I will say, hey, I got up at 6 a.m. and watched a hockey game.
And it was the Olympic hockey game, so even better. Bonus points for Pinky.
I had fun rooting for the bad guys, and then everybody telling me I suck.
You do.
I feel like it helped bring more energy to you guys, because even my other friend group was giving me a bunch of shit. So it made their day that I was rooting for Canada and Canada lost. So I'm glad I could help make people's day and make it an enjoyable time. So hats off to USA. Congrats on your first gold medal in 46 years in hockey. Let's see if you could do it again in 4 years. We'll see what's up. You guys ready for the next topic? I got some good ones for you. Got some NFL topics coming up for a little bit. And then we'll transition to some NBA. Mr. 2 Chainz, Kirk Cousins, is getting released from the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, is that official?
Yeah, they put it out. It's not going to happen until like March 11th. But
yeah, whenever that.
It's the new league year, well, it's something to do. They have to wait until then, because then they can spread his cap hit out a little bit. What do you think about that, Caleb? Is that a good move for them?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
It wasn't a good move to bring them and pay them the way they did to begin with.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. It's just that you ended up running an offense that didn't suit what he does best, which was, why are you going to bring him in if that's the offense you're going to force him to run? He's not much of a mobile quarterback, and you're going to have him playing in a position where he's going to have to be fairly mobile.
Did they have him doing some pistol?
Yeah, that's all they run. That coordinator, and now he's not the coordinator anymore, but he had come out and said that in his dealings with different league meetings and stuff and speaking with different defensive coordinators and stuff, he found out that the formation that always gave people the most trouble was the pistol. So he built an entire offense around it. And I'm sure the rest of the league was like, thank you.
You
guys have all these weapons and you can't use any of them because you're using the most basic personnel offense possible.
Well, what do you need? What do you need to have a pistol offense be successful?
Well, mobile quarterback's going to be on the top of that list for damn.
Absolutely. There has to be a threat of the run from the quarterback. Otherwise, it's useless.
So, yeah, I just a mess there in Atlanta with the way they decided to bring in personnel and then the way they decided to do coordinators. But a lot of changes coming. A lot of changes coming to Atlanta. Matt Ryan is basically running everything for all intents and purposes. That's what it sounds like. Arthur Blank has put his trust in Matt and see what happens. Matt looks like he said we're going to see what our third-year quarterback can do. Is it third year for Penix? It's third year, right?
Yeah, third year.
We're going to see what our third-year quarterback can do. We're going to, people coming in are going to know that this is the guy you need to work with and develop. This is who we're moving forward with until the rookie deal is over, because we're probably going to have to pick up that fifth-year option right now, the way things are looking. To really figure that out, unless somehow we're so terrible we get the number 1 pick and then we take Arch Manning or whatever and we move on. Outside of that, you're going to hope that Penix becomes what a lot of us think he could be. And, I mean, he throws one of the most pretty balls. He seems to read a defense fairly well. It just – there's a lot of issues in Atlanta as a whole.
He does have some nice balls, doesn't he?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Cheers. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cheers. We'll talk about Kirk in a little bit. Tua, with the house cleaning that's occurring in Miami, Tua is set to get released, hitting Miami with a $99 million dead cap hit. And I think it's safe to say Miami's probably going to suck next year. Which, again, if you're a Miami fan, and you're cleaning the decks, that's not a bad thing.
Makes Arch Manning a lot more feasible. or whoever else you think is going to be
I was gonna say,
better. Or
we might need to temper those expectations right now. Arch had a
nah,
rough year
I
last year.
still think I'm full belief you in the NFL. If you're really good, you can do a 2-year. If you're good, you can do a 3-year. If you're average, you should do at least a 4-year. And that's a total rebuild, ground up. The NFL is set up, if you are smart, to be able to do it that way. And the Broncos are kind of a bit of an example of that. You get some solid drafts, you make a couple good free agent signings, and you're in a really good place from not a good place at all.
And
now, the Russ deal tempered that a little bit and changed that path, but they still went from nothing to something fairly quickly. And a lot of teams do that. It is the way the NFL's built itself. That parity is something they absolutely love. And fans do too. There's a reason for it. There is a level competitive playing field for everybody. And then within that, there's nuance that you can work with. And some people are really good at the nuance and some people are really bad. The Dolphins went all in with the Tua experiment, the Waddle, the Tyreek Hill, and everything. Looked like it might have gone somewhere, and then it fell completely on its face. And I think ripping the Band-Aid off is the best thing they can possibly do. I said him and Kyler are going to be gone. I'd said that week, I don't even know, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
I know we're on Tua right now, but I was reading today about Kyler that him and the what is it, the manager, head coach, we haven't even spoken since the initial conversation about him coming back.
New GM in Arizona, new head coach. Neither one of them had anything to do with bringing him in.
They still got Gannon, don't they? I don't think Gannon got fired.
I thought Gannon got fired.
I thought he did.
Maybe. Look it up.
I'll look it up. I got it. I'm on it.
I'm drawing a blank on who the head coach is.
Oh wait, yeah, he did get fired. That's right, because they were talking about maybe
he definitely got
Joseph
fired.
Could get that job, but I don't know who got it. Arizona Cardinals head coach.
I saw this is really funny. I saw somebody, some online site, Sports News, Sports Nation, something. I can't remember exactly who it was now, but I feel like it was something like that.
Mike LaFleur.
Mike LaFleur. That's right.
That's
right. I saw something that said, where all the quarterbacks are going to be playing next year. Malik Willis ends up in Miami for this person. Tua ends up out in Arizona. And then Kyler ends up in New York with the Jets.
Oh, that's all gross.
I'm like, Malik Willis in Miami, I could see that being a great long-term plan if you're looking to reset a lot quicker and not go through the draft for your quarterback. I've liked Malik Willis since the draft. So, again, this is not me jumping on somebody's bandwagon now. I've been on Malik Willis for a very long time.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
He was able to develop a little bit. It's almost like he did I'm going to go get my degree with the Green Bay Packers, kind of like Darnold did with the San Francisco 49ers, and reset my entire career. So with what Miami's doing now, that might work. I don't know if that's the best path for Miami. I think, tearing it completely down might be a better option. But then again, Malik's young. So if you really like him, he's very easily could be your franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years, and you just build around him through the draft. Now you don't have to worry about the quarterback.
I don't know if there's another quarterback in the draft right now that I would spend a quality pick on besides Mendoza. So you're taking a risk. So let me ask this question of you, Caleb. Where I have a thought in mind on where Tua should go. Where do you think Tua fits in?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think his best option, if this team would want to have him, is the Rams. And him follow in Stafford's footsteps, play with McVay, and they'll know pretty quickly once Stafford goes and Tua gets to come in and play in that system. I mean, McVay will know in that first year if it's okay or not. And if it's not, then they just completely reset, and that's fine. But at least you had an experiment there that you could possibly continue your runs with, given what McVay can do and what some of Tua's strengths are. Outside of that, Pinky, honestly, I don't have a good option for him right now.
Robert, you got a thought? Where you might send Tua? I just want to include you. If you don't, it's okay.
I honestly, when you said this, when you brought it up to Caleb, my initial instinct was him to go to the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't. Number one quarterbacks normally don't sit behind a guy normally, so that'd be tough. And
except for Baker and Darnold and
yeah, but again,
historically, you're absolutely correct. I'm sorry, I just had to poke a little bit there.
I mean, Darnold wasn't number one.
I know he was
number one picks.
I know. You're right.
But I mean, that was my initial instinct because I feel like they just don't have the guy.
So, I think the Minnesota Vikings should take a flyer on Tua as a.
That was my second guess.
As a guy that can compete with JJ. They both have injury issues at this point, so
dude,
you're kind of rolling the dice on either one.
At this point, may as well just have a stretcher on the side for JJ.
I have a feeling Kevin O'Connell could probably get some decent play out of Tua, and Tua throwing the ball to Addison, Hawkinson, and Jefferson. Timing wise, might not be too bad.
I agree with you there. The head coach could get some production out of him for sure. The weapons are there. The reason I wouldn't do it, and the reason I didn't mention it, is because of McCarthy. He has to be given a full run and time to develop, and you have to let him play if he's healthy for at least the next 2 years. And then you got to decide on the 5th-year option. We're going into year 3. You gave up Sam Darnold to move forward with him. You can't bring in another vet that's going to be better than him or be able to look better than him at times that could force the potential of taking reps away from him. You just can't. You gotta, when you draft something that you know is going to be a bit of a project, you have to be willing to go through that grind. And I think McCarthy, again, I think he showed enough flashes last year that I said I would have stuck with Darnold, but I'm not completely this is over.
No, I didn't see a lot from McCarthy. In fact, what I did see from him scared me. If you can't get the ball to Justin Jefferson, there's issues, man. Like Nick Mullins got the ball to Justin Jefferson just fine. So
you wonder about that rapport, but he spread the ball around really well.
That doesn't necessarily get you to the Super Bowl.
That roster as a whole is pretty darn good.
Second year in the league, first year starting, and he only played half the games because of injury. Yeah. That's the concern now, is the injury thing, obviously. That's where I would be super concerned. But I don't know if you bring in a vet who, I mean, let's be honest, if Tua gets on the field, the only thing that is going to take Tua off is Tua's injury.
Well, think of it this way. You get Tua, you get him to come in for a cheaper deal because he's already getting all this money from the Dolphins. JJ's our guy. Tua's there to support him. And if JJ gets hurt again, you have a quarterback with that roster that can probably win you some games.
Yeah, but Tua could get hurt really easily.
He could. There's a risk there. But
you want a backup that's a little bit more reliable?
I want a backup that I might be able to win some games with and get to the playoffs because I have a roster that's pretty darn good.
Oh, like Sam Darnold did last 2 seasons ago? And then you let him walk?
The Vikings are in that weird scenario, and I was going to talk about them, but we'll talk about them now. They're in this weird scenario of at the moment,
can't make a good decision. They keep shooting themselves in the foot.
They've got a good roster.
They do.
They went 14-3 with Darnold, or 13-4.
13-4.
They went 13-4 with Darnold. That's a good team.
No, it was 14-3, wasn't it?
No, I
Darnold
think
and Brady are the only two. Darnold, Brady, and Manning are
they
the only
lost
two.
That game to the Lions. They lost that game to the Lions.
This season, Sam Darnold went 14-3. Last season, it was 13-4.
I thought him and the other two were the only 3 quarterbacks to ever go back-to-back 14-win seasons.
Maybe
14+ win seasons.
Which means the Lions must have been 15-2 then.
Oh, nope. Yeah, no, Caleb's right. 14-3.
But either way, really good.
Last year they were awful because
they were terrible.
They didn't have a quarterback they could count on and that could win them games after JJ got hurt. So
there were some issues.
That's why I think Tua would be a solution of saying, hey, we're still going to run with JJ. We're still going to give him a pretty good leash. But if he gets hurt and he's going to be out for a good amount of time, I've got a quarterback that I could probably win some games with this roster. So, because I think, didn't Flores stay? So the defense is pretty much there.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin O'Connell, I think we all think is a pretty darn good coach.
Go draft and try to shore up the offensive line a little bit more. Maybe look at running back in the draft. Go get some defensive studs again. You know,
okay, so maybe if you don't like the Tua idea, what do you think of this? Would this be more of an option for you?
As the backup, sure.
Backup, yeah, backup.
I think he's a solid backup. I think, to me, Purdy looks so much better than Jones. Mm-hmm. And I know Jones had a nice little run there, and people wanted to try to build him up and be like, yeah, see, this is a starter in the NFL. I didn't see that. I saw a solid backup make a good little run in a great system.
He managed the game.
So if he's willing to sign as the backup and come in and play behind JJ and think maybe I could get a shot and see what I can do with it kind of thing, and that's going to be his mindset, knowing McCarthy's the starter unless he gets hurt, cool. Yeah, I think that'd be a good backup option. But if I'm a team who needs a quarterback, that is not the dude in any way I'm looking. I would go draft before I sign Mac Jones to be my starting quarterback.
So if you're going to suck this year like the Dolphins, the Jets, the Cardinals, would you not just sign Mac Jones for a season and let him play and suck anyways and then go into 2027 trying to grab a quarterback then? Because there's really not that many this year.
No, because I still don't think Kyler's completely dead. I think it's more a mindset, and can you get the right people around him to get his full potential consistently unlocked? I think Malik Willis is a great option. So I think those two alone are still worthy, capable starters in the NFL. I think Justin Fields is still interesting. So, you know, if you're talking about just trying to lose and get to the next season, like, why pay Mac Jones? Mac Jones is going to be more expensive. If that's really what you're trying to do, why not just go get Justin Fields and let him play quarterback for a season? I'm not trying to say Justin Fields is a starter. I'm just saying, given your scenario, I'd rather go that option and cheaper than Mac Jones. Yeah, I just don't see any reason in any situation to bring him in as the starter, because he's going to be good enough if you think you are just a starter away, meaning you have like a solid line and some weapons. He's going to be just good enough to not get you where you need to be to draft the right people to replace him. So he'll get you 6 or 7 wins that you shouldn't have had. You know, 3 of those, 4 of those. But he played just well enough where maybe some like Justin Fields, who doesn't throw the ball, RIP my guy, doesn't get a couple of those wins. And I still, though, the reason Justin Fields is still interesting to me, Pinky, is because of what he did with Pittsburgh. He went 4-2 with what a lot of people now are saying isn't necessarily a great roster. And I know he didn't throw the ball well, but he did enough to keep winning games. And it makes me wonder, and I say this all the time, so this isn't anything new. I've said this with a lot of people over the years. If you just built an offense around him and you really wanted to just go all in and see what happens, what could you potentially get? I think he's better than Tebow, and Tebow managed to win games when an offense was built around him a little bit. So is there a possibility of there being able to do something like that? That's why it's interesting to me. But I think he'd be a solid. I mean, would you be mad if Justin Fields was your backup?
No, because can he come in and throw
that's
something?
That's the role he's playing.
Yeah.
Right.
He can come in and definitely, as a backup, I don't hate Justin Fields.
But
as a starter for my team,
same, right?
I would hate it.
So would you rather have Mac Jones or Justin Fields?
Mac Jones.
I would rather have Justin Fields because I think it's a cheaper option. So my books can go elsewhere.
But the cheaper option doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily win the clutch games.
I think they both win at the same rate. That's what I'm telling you. It's very differently done. But I think they're both going to win if the roster is talented around them. They're both not going to win if the roster is not talented around them.
Yeah,
they're just going to go about it in very different ways.
Neither one of them is going to win if the roster's not good. But
right,
I do think Mac Jones will get you more wins than Justin Fields ever will. That dude is not starter material. He's just not. He's done. All right, let's see. What else we got? We got this one. Raiders fans, I'm sorry, guys. The move is to trade Max Crosby.
That was the move last year when I brought it up.
It would have been a better move last year. Probably had a little bit more value.
Cheers to that, Caleb, because I completely agree.
It's like you gotta make this happen. Like somebody's gonna overpay you right now for Max Crosby. And he will do more good for your team with draft picks and unloading his salary than what you're going to get from him right now while you're rebuilding.
I don't know what the timeline looks like as far as the salary and the dates of, when he would need to be not on roster to collect bonuses and all that good stuff. But if I'm the Raiders, you're definitely moving him this year, but I would do it as close to the draft as possible. Absolutely as close to draft, if not on night one, because that's when I think you're going to get the most for him.
He signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah, that's another reason he's intriguing to trade for, because he's under contract. This isn't like a lame duck situation where you trade him or he walks next year kind of thing, or you have to use the franchise tag. No, man, he is signed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, you should have done it last year if you're really trying to rebuild. But the previous regime was unwilling to make that move. The new regime sees what needs to be done if they truly want to be competitive. And unfortunately, keeping arguably the best defensive player in the league is not the move you need to do. It's move on from him and what do you think, Pinky? If we're being realistic, 2 firsts, a second, and a decent starter on one side of the ball, whether it's offense or defense, is the value for Max Crosby?
You're considering you're probably looking at 2 firsts and like a third would get it done.
Like if you're Detroit, let's say you have a first and Jameson Williams. Is that enough, or do you need to go more?
I don't think the Raiders would take on a player. I think they'll just take picks where they're at right now. I'm just saying,
if that was the offer and the Raiders were like, we like that, but what would you have to include? Or would you be like, no, that's all we're offering. That's too much already.
Look, 2 firsts are the starting point. Like, that's it. It's 2 firsts. That's the starting point.
You don't look at Jameson Williams as a first, de facto first?
No.
Starting caliber wide receiver?
No, okay. Already been suspended for gambling, already had some injury issues. No, he's not a first. Is he
not a George Pickens situation?
No. Jameson Williams has had some good games, but not overly consistent overall. He gets lost.
2 firsts and J-Mo, would that get it done? Would you be interested then?
You give me
a wide receiver for your.
You give me 2 firsts and I'm happy. Like that's
it. That's all you would require.
I think he'll go for more than that, but for me, the 2 firsts are like that's where I've got to get those 2 firsts.
Okay.
Because again, most teams that are going to trade for him are probably in the back end anyways. So, and he's going to be good, so he's going to keep your team good. So again, you're going to get 2 firsts. You'll probably get a little bit extra to add on because of that. Because
see, that's why I want personally 2 firsts, maybe a third, but I like the second more, and a starting caliber player, and this is why. Crosby arguably is the best defensive player in the league, which means he's one of the best players in the league, period. I need 2 firsts because, like you said, Pinky, I'm probably going to get those in the back half of the first, not the top half. So I need multiple chances to replace not just him, but put others around him that can try to make up the difference of losing him. So that's what the 2 firsts do. The other pick then becomes his value, and the starting caliber player is the cost of doing business for getting a premier player like him. That's how I'm seeing it in my mind.
It's tough because Sauce Gardner didn't go for that. Micah didn't go for that. Not that they should.
Well, we all know Jerry sold cheap on Micah, just like Dallas did with Luka. Runs in the family, apparently.
Something about Dallas.
Dallas water got them doing crazy things. The other one you mentioned, though, like Sauce Gardner, okay, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but that's nowhere close to the same value as arguably the best defensive end in the league.
Right. Now, a team that could make a swing if they wanted, who has 2 picks, would be the Rams. They've got the 12th, I believe.
That's gross.
And they've got one in the 20s, like 27, 28, somewhere in there.
That's gross.
So that could be a good spot. There's a couple. I mean, we could make cases for a lot of teams to go out and get Max Crosby. If you're trading one of those picks at the back end, he's under contract.
I mean, if you have 2 firsts in this year's draft, like, to me, if you have to trade picks and you have multiple picks in one round in the same draft and you can trade those instead of future ones and move them all now, that's so much more valuable to your team because you're acquiring a player immediately and you don't lose any future assets.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you kind of gave up future assets to make that deal a lot of the times, maybe. But depending on how you made that deal, you actually didn't lose anything. The way the Rams made that deal, they didn't lose anything. That would be them acquiring
that.
And what's that nice little phrase you guys like to use all the time in your business? ROI, Pinky?
That's right, baby.
I think that would be good ROI for the Rams.
Absolutely. The Rams got great ROI for not drafting James Pierce and letting the Falcons do it. And who knows if that kid even plays football again.
Probably
see.
not. Probably not based on what's happening.
We'll see. He hasn't been released yet, so there's that. Let's see. Max Crosby. All right, this came out today, and since we are Broncos fans.
I was going to bring this up hoping you wouldn't, but okay. Okay.
Hey, bring it up. Ask me the question. What do you want to ask? What do you want to talk about?
Do you really believe Sean Payton when he says Davis Webb is going to be the OC?
No.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think that's the only way they kept Davis Webb on the team. He had opportunities to go elsewhere to call plays, and he has to call plays to get that next job, which a lot of people think he is a head coach in waiting. He had head coaching interviews.
Yep.
He just didn't get any of the jobs. So, yes, I believe. Now, will Sean Payton still have a strong word on the game plan? Absolutely.
So we'll see 50 more screens.
Could he still call an audible mid-game if he's seeing something that Webb isn't seeing? Absolutely. He's the head coach. But, yes, Davis Webb will be calling the plays this year.
So now, two-fold follow-up question. Did that play call, because I don't even think it's the decision. I think it's the play call. Did that play call on that 4th down break Sean Payton and make him basically walk backwards into this decision? And did it break him to where he's not the gambler type anymore? Because that changes his persona, if you will. And does that change his coaching ability? So twofold question.
Not at all. That dude has more hubris and pride and overconfidence of most of the coaches out there. He comes from the Bill Parcells tree. He made that call. I think he regrets making that specific play call, not going for it, but the play call that he made in that scenario. I think he'd go for it again every day of the week. Like, I don't think there's a question there.
Yeah.
I just think he would have chose a better play call.
Agreed.
I don't think any of that has anything to do with this. This is more about he knows he's got a talented guy that if he doesn't let him call plays, he was going to lose him. And the Broncos are
But
a better
why would that
team
matter if you're the OC anyways? Why would it matter if you lose? You just call up the next talented
because
guy. Why is this?
because
I
Davis
think
Webb,
you're downplaying how big of a deal this is.
Davis Webb being Bo Nix's quarterback coach for the last 2 years and has a really good rapport with Bo Nix, that matters.
It's a Ben Johnson situation because next year he won't be a Bronco. Guarantee it.
So that's going to be then my follow-up question, depending on how you answered, Pinky. So then when you lose him next year anyway, so if that's the case, if he goes out and he calls a great season as an OC now, he's definitely going to get a head coaching job next year.
Well, then you have a Clint Kubiak situation where you just
or does he pull a Ben Johnson and I'm going to wait for a better opportunity? You get him for 2 years.
Depends
but long term, then that's still not a great position to put your team in your quarterback. So I think there is a bigger issue here. I really do. I think there is something bigger going on. Whether that's Sean Payton finally being like, you know what, I don't trust myself anymore. I'm willing to admit that because I made a bad play call. Not the decision. I'm still willing to be a gambler, come out of halftime and go for an onside kick in the Super Bowl. Like, I'm still willing to do all those things. But I don't trust my eyes, my thoughts on the play calling anymore. I'm finally willing to give it up to somebody who I think is a very talented up and coming. Like, that's kind of what you're thinking happened, or you're thinking it really just is to keep Webb around as long as possible.
Absolutely.
I think talented. If that's the reason, this is going to fail miserably because Peyton will eventually take play calling away. Like, that's what I see. Like, if this isn't because he finally is willing to admit maybe he lost something on his fastball and somebody else could up and come and be the next dude, if that's not the reason this is happening and it's
we don't know
Webb, that's a bad thing.
But we don't know.
I know. I'm just telling you how I feel. Like, depending on if it's A or B, one's good, one's really bad and doesn't go well. That's truly what I believe.
I think Davis Webb's going to be all right. So I think the offense with a different point of view can do some things. Although, as we've talked about, we still need some playmakers to make that happen.
I might be in the minority still with that, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you need a better running back situation and a tight end. But I think the wide receiver core is a little bit better than people give it credit for. I will say this: if the offense starts the first quarter-ish of the season looking like they did this year, I'm going to tell you right now, Davis Webb is not the dude in full control of the offense. And that will lead to a lot of issues for the rest of the season, and the Broncos will not have a good year. If that offense comes out and looks noticeably different, I think you could have a very interesting year from that offense, like high octane kind of type thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they start next season.
Absolutely. We'll get into it more.
That's my super way too early prediction.
We have a lot of time in the offseason to break it down and discuss. We got to get moving because we got to give – I know Robert's got some topics he wants to talk about. Rock Chalk, baby. Rock Chalk. Let's go. They were all in the news last week. They were the topic. How they lose to an unranked Cincinnati by a lot and then beat a top 5 team. I don't know. But they were in the news a lot. 2 top 5 teams,
wasn't it? Beat Arizona and then Houston last night?
Yeah, they beat Arizona like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Now they beat Arizona without 2 of their starters, which was what was pretty crazy. But
that might be the way they need to play going forward.
So I haven't got to catch a lot of KU games this year. I happened to not be doing anything. The wife was out of the house, and I was cleaning the kitchen with the KU game on my tablet, and I'm watching. And from that game, and I had watched, I think I watched the Arizona game as well. I saw something that really troubled me as a Kansas fan. When they try to run the ball through Darren Peterson, as talented as he is, everybody else stops working. They're waiting for him to make a play. When he's not on the court, they play as a team?
Well, when you miss half the games and then the half that you do play, you may not even play the full game. There's a lot of chemistry lost while the team is doing things away from you to build that chemistry. And then you just get inserted and you're supposed to be the primary scorer without any real chemistry around what you're trying to do. A lot of standing starts happening. A lot of isolation starts happening.
Do you know
sometimes good things can come from that, but
his game, what it made me think of it immediately was kind of almost like watching Carmelo Anthony, where there were times where the team was waiting for Carmelo Anthony to score and not playing like a team around him.
See, that'd be Carmelo like with the Knicks.
Right.
I think people forget what Melo with Syracuse was like when he took them to a national championship as a true freshman.
No. In Syracuse, no issues there. And I know because he beat Kansas, which really pissed me off. It is later as he got into his career in the NBA that like watching him was like the team just expects him to score all the time. And then they just kind of stop playing together and as a team. So if he's not scoring, you're struggling because nobody else is like really got the teamwork is not happening to make those easy buckets. And that's kind of what happens with Kansas. So again, the conversation last week was a lot around, is he hurting his draft stock by doing this like weird, like he's got cramps and then the next thing you know, he's got a cold. And then the next thing you know, he's got a hammy issue, but somehow he plays the next game. Like it's nothing. Like what's happening there, Caleb? What do you think there?
Man, you want to scare GMs of any sport off? Say you're unwilling to play unless you're 100%. And they will start questioning and looking for any red flag they can to create a valid reason to the ownership of why, no matter how talented everybody says this guy is, he is not the guy you need to be picking. And that's what Darren Peterson's doing to himself right now. AJ Dibanesta, I always wonder if I say that right. I don't think I did. Boozer Fleming, I believe is his last name, the guard from Houston. There's another guard from Arkansas. There's some 6, 7, 8 guys at the top of this draft that are all legit. Maybe there's a little bit of a difference there at the top with Peterson, Dibanesta, but that like the next group right below them is not far off. So I would not be surprised at all if he slipped to 5, 6, 7 because of what's happened now. And I don't think his talent is such that would be unheard of. Just because he's not a generational type. I don't see that. I still laugh because I hear people still continuously talking about how Cooper Flagg would be the 3rd, 4th, 5th best player in this draft. I'm like, he's younger than all these guys to begin with. Okay? Reclassified to play up. I don't know what people like. People think that he did that to like avoid this class, which is such a weird argument. Nobody in this draft is Cooper Flagg. Dibanesta is showing some things that I'm paying a little closer attention to now, and I'll report more on that as the tournament gets here and unfolds, and then into the NBA draft. But he's shown some things where that might be something. The Arkansas guard and Fleming are showing some things where they could be. You don't usually win with the guard as your best player, but they could be the 2nd best player on some championship teams. They're showing some things. Boozer, I'm having the hardest time with because I can't tell if he's like his dad, where he's like a really good starting role player, maybe a couple all-stars, great on the defensive side. Like, is that kind of what he's going to be, like your 3rd, 4th option on a championship team? Or is he truly somebody you can build around? And I am leaning more towards the 3rd, 4th option type of guy. But there's been a couple instances where I'm making sure I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's going forward.
Well, how's his brother doing?
Not as good. Not as good. Good player, but he'll need a couple more years to, at least another year. He might come out this year and draft and develop in the NBA. We'll see. He's not as talented. So, but I would take, just not on talent, but just purely based on what's happened this season with Peterson, I would take all the guys I mentioned before him. Because I'm not trying to build a franchise around a dude who may only play half the time, or if he's playing and then he feels something tweak or something, he's pulling himself out. Like, I got to have you all the time. And if I can't trust that that is going to be the option, I'm not handing you the keys. And if that means somebody else takes that risk and ends up being the greatest decision they ever made, and I didn't do that, I'm going to have to live with that. And I understand that. But again, I'm not seeing a talent on a generational level that says ignore the giant red flags. I'm just not seeing that. And he's good.
We'll see what happens tournament time. I have a feeling that he's feeling the backlash because he played the entire Cincinnati game, and he did play the entire game against Houston. So, we'll see.
Yeah, you want to change your narrative? Finish the season out playing every game, and then I'm that's an easy thing for me to adjust on, right? Because I already see talent there. I just don't see talent that overcomes the negatives right now. Not on that level.
Yeah, as a Kansas fan, it sucks because I hate seeing like when Embiid was there, right? He was just there because he had to do a year, and he just didn't get it done. And I feel like that's Peterson could be the number one pick, and if he doesn't bring us a championship, what does it matter, right? So
the difference there is I feel like Embiid does want to play and does play injured, or I should say, plays hurt. The difference between hurt and injured for me is injured is an injury you should not be playing on.
Different scenario when it came to college, just the same as the one and done of like Embiid didn't get a championship for Kansas, no matter how great he was. So, and that sucks as a fan when you've got these great players that just like they didn't play long enough to help you
either.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right. Let's get Robert back in the conversation because he hasn't talked in a while. I don't know what you wanted to talk about, Robert, but tell me what you wanted to talk about when it comes to F1 and NASCAR.
Number one, F1 and NASCAR is you're in a circle. F1, you have abilities and different turns and different navigations to make a race interesting. Not only is it interesting, but it's, in my opinion, it is the top motorsport across the board to be in. That is the pinnacle. I don't find NASCAR interesting. I don't find a way to follow it. I can't get into it. I got into F1 off of a fluke, and I love the technicality that goes into it that is mildly explained in the Brad Pitt movie. I'm a numbers guy. Pinky, you're a numbers guy. Those are things that speak to me in a lot of different ways, and when I look at F1, I see that. I see all of the strategy. I see the numbers and things that make that sport so interesting to watch. I watch NASCAR and I get bored out of my mind. I don't see any different strategy. I don't see any real team effort, if you will, like some of the things that F1 provides. NASCAR is something that is just completely and totally lost on me. And I can't come up with a rhyme or reason as to why. I think F1 is far superior when it comes to NASCAR at the end of the day. But that's just me. Caleb? No, he says.
I mean, I got big into F1, obviously, but I had gotten into NASCAR previous to that.
I've tried.
And then kind of didn't watch it as much last year because I was watching a lot more F1. I will be watching a lot more NASCAR this year. Just watching the Daytona 500 again. the way last week, I think it was Atlanta, the way last week's race finished. A NASCAR race is so much more exciting to watch than an F1 race. There's so much more going on during the course of the race to pay attention to, so much more action, passing. I think there's far more strategy involved. And this is coming from a guy who thinks they're equal as far as how much I like each one.
I love that we're the antithesis to each other, Caleb. It's like poetry. You and Pinky are antithesis to each other when it comes to football. When it comes to racing, here we are. I love it. It's poetry. It rhymes.
I think they're very different, and I can appreciate each one for what it is. And I said this about, I mean, honestly, NASCAR is the reason I decided to give F1 a chance again. Because I tried to get into F1 a long time ago, and I had issues. And a lot of it is because of how boring a majority of the races are. And it took learning NASCAR, and my uncle is part of the reason for that. He's a huge NASCAR guy, and just kind of hearing that made me want to learn a little bit more. So I had something to converse with him about when we were hanging out and know what I was talking about, because I'm supposed to be a sports guy. So I had to dig down the rabbit hole and learn.
I need you to keep that in mind for when I bring up my next topic here.
That's fine. So because of that, I learned about NASCAR and the strategies and the team and what they're doing. And it's so much more than just driving in a circle. And the road races are fun in NASCAR, but I far prefer the oval racing when I'm watching NASCAR. That's much more what the cars are built for, what they're engineered for. Bumping and rubbing and grinding and pushing people out of the way and slipstreams and all of that stuff is so much more in NASCAR, where a lot of it's not even allowed in F1. So while they're both motorsports and they're both racing cars at high speeds, I think they're very different. If you want to talk about similar, we can go talk about F1 and IndyCar, which I'm trying to learn a little bit about IndyCar, but that's now you're talking about picking up a third motorsport. That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen as much as it should to really learn about it. So I'll stick with these two. But I love both of them. I really do. And I don't think one's superior to the other. I think they both have their faults, their weaknesses, and their beauties for sure.
Love that. Pinky, you're still muted.
I am still muted after I was choking to death. There is nothing more boring than an F1 race where the pole positions, where they all start, is almost where they all end up. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And I watched quite a few races at 5 a.m. in the morning and sitting there like, okay, what are we watching for? And it's literally, this guy started in 1, 2, 3, 4, and like when the race was over, that's how they finished. Now there was a little bit of jockeying at the end based on penalties or something happened to the car. That happens. But for the most part, the guys that started 1 through 6 ended 1 through 6. There's not a lot of drama to that. So
that's fair.
That's where F1 needs to find a way to if they really to me, F1, I think the skill it takes, the drivers, the cars are awesome. There's a lot there, the prestige and the glamour. There's a lot of glamour with F1 races.
For sure.
Everybody's dressed to the nines. The women are all super hot. There's a lot there. But they don't capitalize on it because, again, they haven't made it to where the runs before the race are probably more entertaining than the race itself.
Qualifying,
that's a problem. That's a problem. But so I'm glad. I would probably say at least I like a lot of the other aspects of F1 over NASCAR. And again, prestige, good-looking people versus rednecks loving NASCAR. There's a whole different thing there. But so I
wasn't gonna say it.
I'll say it. I'm a redneck. It's fine. So I'm a Colorado redneck, by the way.
I mean, you can't be mad at the way NASCAR started. Its roots are in bootleg and whiskey.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Duke's a hazard, baby. Let's make it happen.
So, which brings me to a very interesting topic that I really wanted to surprise you both with, and it may be a two-part situation. I may pose the question, and we come back next week to discuss it even further. So, you know, we look over the last so many years with movies, and you have a lot of great sports films. Days of Thunder, The Rookie, Coach Carter, so on and so on. I'm starting to wonder here because a lot of those movies were 20 years after the fact, or not even maybe 10 years. So when are we going to get some more modern sports movies? Because we've had Moneyball for one, Draft Day for another. So when are we going to see a Peyton Manning movie or a Tom Brady or something to that nature being developed? Because I feel like there's been a lot of generational athletes in the last 10 years. Maybe like we could even go just 15 years even.
So part of the problem
when
with
some of that's going to start to happen. And that's what I want to ask you all.
With a sports movie is story. And what I mean by that is you can't do a movie on Tom Brady or Peyton Manning because it's already been done live in front of our eyes for the last 20 years. So there isn't really much there that you're going to turn around and tell. That's why you get the Sports Center or the ESPN 30 for 30s, some of the behind-the-scene documentaries.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm following up with is when you had Molly's Game even a couple years ago, but that was a different situation. But when or what athlete, sport, or something to that nature would you consider would be to that level? Because again, with The Rookie, with Dennis Quaid, unless you really paid attention to baseball, you wouldn't have known, right? Which became a cult classic of a movie. Now, Pinky, you raise a good point, which is part of the question that I'm going to ask you all, is we live in a modern era where that's something that is at the tips of our fingers at any point. You can just reach out, watch it. You've told me that several times. So how do you still create that magic, if you will, and have that sports film, rather than it being an F1 with Brad Pitt, a Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, and so on and so forth?
So they can still make good sports movies if they, again, get back to storytelling. But starting with like what you were talking about, Tom Brady, like we have so much access currently. So back in the day, like before the internet, before social media, before 24/7 sports, there like you wouldn't know the Kurt Warner story, or you wouldn't know the shoeless Joe Jackson story, or like great sports movies come from like there's a basis in reality and then it's dramatized for the movie, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what makes the sports movies great. Well, for certain topics that we know, like you just can't do it. You can't do could you do a Peyton Manning movie? You could, but then where's the
I mean, they did a Kurt Warner movie and it didn't go that well because everybody still already knew what was going on.
That's my point, though.
Right, everybody knew the ending, but
not even the ending. They knew that he was working in a grocery store. He played Arena League football. It was kind of already laid out so many times already that I think the closest thing you could get, Robert,
and you have The Blind Side, for example. Like that's my question is to you all is what story or anything like that would you maybe pick out or even follow? Like Lewis
even
Hamilton
that is tough now because you have to make sure the people are on board because now Michael Orr's coming out saying none of that happened while there's a whole other faction of people who are like, we were there for all of it. And not just the Toohey family. A lot of other people are like, you're a dumbass. Why are you throwing them under the bus when none of that happened? It's all like, yes, some of it was, but he lost money on it by doing it. Like, he listened to the wrong people, maybe. I don't know. Like, I get, but going back to what I was going to say, I think the closest thing you could get to that, it might even be better than that now, Blindside, just given the fallout from that, but just in general, the closest thing you could get to a sports movie, real life, following a rise, if you will, which is really what you need. You can know the ending, but you know there's a rise, but you don't really know the behind the scenes of that rise, the true personality. It's Kurt Signetti. And you do some kind of story, some kind of movie on Kurt Signetti, and I think that could work really well. Outside of that, there's a bunch of runs, moments, things of that nature that you could do stories on. I'm drawing a blank on all of them right now. I used to have a list of it, and I don't know where I'd have to go digging for it. But they're out there. The moments, the teams that won or something. There's a ton of those.
That's not. I'm not refuting that fact. What my essence of the question is that what sports moment or thing would you say that could be developed with that Hollywood magic, if you will, to make a compelling story?
Yeah, I'm drawing blanks on all the moments I've thought about for that. But Signetti as a whole, I think you could easily do something on.
That at the basis of everything, that is my real question is, out of the last 15 to 20 years, because again, we're going back to 2006 with this now, based off of that, what moment would you capture? What moment would you put on the silver screen?
There's so many docuseries now.
Because you again,
so much access that doing a movie now on it would almost be, you're not going to get the money back of what it would cost you to make it because there's just not going to be enough interest. Everybody's already seen
sure.
It. It's
but
like,
hey,
let's go make a movie now on that Bulls team. Everybody be like, we watched The Last Dance, dude. We don't need to see a movie on it now. Like that's kind of the problem.
But I mean, you also have there's some Cinderella stories. Like again, it's a little unconventional with how it progresses. But I mean, Molly's Game was an absolute, like, I loved that movie. From going from an Olympic,
that even? I don't
poker.
It's so an Olympic skier crashes out due to injury and understands math to now basically run a high stakes poker game illegally.
Never even heard of it.
She's based here in
Jeremy Bloom's sister.
Yeah.
You remember Jeremy Bloom from Colorado?
Oh, I know Jeremy Bloom.
That's his sister. His sister is the poker princess.
Wide receiver.
His sister's the poker princess, was arrested for illegal gambling in 2013.
She went out to LA. She ended up somehow finding her way into hosting like poker games.
It was her
with
boss.
Celebrities and like.
But see, I guess that even more proves the point, Robert, of how hard it is now. I hadn't even heard. I like movies, love sports.
I highly recommend Molly's Game whenever you're not watching the DC list that I sent you.
I am watching that. I don't know if that interests me at all, though. Like
I like the.
It's got a fantastic cast.
It might, but it's like I'm gonna watch that. I'll throw on some Rounders again, or like.
But again, being the sports guys and me being still somewhat of a greenie, more of my sophomore year now than I was my freshman, if you will, is in the last 20 years, what moment would you iconicize and put on a silver screen? What would you
There's a lot. I'm bummed that I am drawing a blank on them.
And that's why I said this can be a two-parter. You don't need to have an answer right now. But that's been something that's burned in my mind is I'm like, we have a lot of these other movies. Fictional, some non-fictional to a degree. But I'm like, man, what sports moment would I want to see redone with A-listers? How would I do that? What would I want to see? One of those for me personally is just to see the story of Lewis Hamilton, even. Just doing a biopic on that, I think would be a great story. But there's a lot of other moments, athletes, teams that you can really tell a story off of. I just don't have that knowledge to really go that far. And that's why I'm going to my quote-unquote experts on this to say, okay, what would you want to see? Not a documentary, not a docuseries, not an ESPN special, but a recreation of a moment that spoke to you.
Yeah, it'll be hard for me to, Pinky, we'll have to see what we can come up with. This is going to be hard for me because I think I'd rather see the docuseries, like the 30 for 30, than I would a movie.
Yeah, I'd almost rather see everybody like getting interviewed and talking about their experience versus A-listers playing a character to like. Well,
Because
let's talk about it.
Yeah, because again, like one of the other great examples is you have Miracle. That's a well done movie. And again,
But
what
the
happened
reason that works is because there wasn't a lot of access at the time it happened. So you can go back now and fill in these gaps, tell these things that people didn't know. Where nowadays,
that's
most
at the
of that's
crux of
out
my
there
question,
already.
though. That's at the crux of my question is what superior moment.
That's what I think. That's what Pinky and I are saying is there may not exist a moment such that there'll be movie worthy ever again because the access will
And
be
if
such that
that's
we'll already have known everything. So a movie would only bring down the moment rather than build it up.
The problem that we have, Robert, when you're talking about like recreating these great sports moments, is we know what happened.
But that's also what made the F1 Brad Pitt movie so great.
No. We had no idea what was going to happen.
That's my point.
Don't spoil anything for me on that, please. I still want to see it.
How have you not?
Robert, it's based in a lot of reality.
Well, yeah, but that's my point.
We don't know what is going to happen at the end of the movie with all other these sports moments you're talking about. I'm not giving away anything, Caleb. These sports moments you're talking about, we know the ending. We know Kirk Gibson hits that home run. We know Michael Jordan hits that shot to win the Bulls championship. We know, we know Holly Holm knocked out Ronda Rousey to pretty much end her career.
I'll take a step further.
Right?
Rudy was this prolific, top of the list sports movie for everybody. It's not on my list anymore because Joe Montana has come out and blasted it all to hell and basically talked about how none of it happened. People on the team didn't really like him. Nobody really wanted him around. Like he wasn't a great person like the movie portrayed and this, that, and the other. That ruins the movie completely for me. There is nothing about that movie I really find value in. If that came on, I was watching it. Now I could care less. So you got to be really careful when, especially we have as much information we do about the situation, you turn around and do a movie about a situation. If you don't have the majority on board, it may not work very well at all.
I think, Robert, I think we could still make great sports movies that are somewhat based in fact, but they have to be, made up situations.
Sure. The question still stands though, is it doesn't have to be necessarily any, again, what do you think?
I'll dig my brain and my
I'll think about it.
I appreciate it.
It is a tough question because again,
I know
a lot of sports movies.
Oh, I came in with this knowing that this may be a multi.
You did call that out before you even gave it, so well done. That's
now switching to a more lighthearted situation. Pinky, you've got to catch up so that way, you have a more thoughtful conversation on this. But Night of the Seven Kingdoms is over, and that is epic.
Egg is a little motherfucker.
Egg is awesome. Egg is awesome.
I love him.
He's so good.
But he is a little mother. Oh my.
Whoever cast that young man, give him all the money because that was awesome.
Yo, my job for the rest of my life is just going to be to cause chaos for everybody around me. But I'm going to be really cool and awesome at the same time. So it's going to be hard for people to not like me.
So fucking good.
Okay, ending. Without saying too much to spoil, because we haven't this whole time, right? Like we've tried not to give spoilers. But
yes, but we need to really move past that. But yeah.
We will no longer be doing that after this series, we decided. But for now, as soon as that shit went down, with building up to the ending, my wife said her first reaction was, he is doing this on his own again. And I said, nah, it's permission, but they're keeping it low key. When that ending hit, she was like, uh-huh. And I go, damn. I was wrong, but I was happy I was wrong because that is a level of chaos that's about to ensue that just nobody knows it's coming. Nobody knows it's coming.
You've watched Game of Thrones, right? You in its entirety. And I want to say this is season 3. Yeah, it has to be season 3. There's a moment when you have Joffrey and Jaime going through the Book of Knights, detailing all of their accomplishments. And there's a very quick moment, and there's several moments throughout Game of Thrones where Sir Duncan is referenced. He gets 4 pages in this book. So, is he doing it by himself? Yes. But the gods are on his side. And it was already mentioned in the finale. They are going to go to Dorne. That is where we should end up for season 2.
How many seasons do we get of this, Robert?
If they do it right, we could get like 10. Because it's told in segments.
I know that. They're
I'm trying to be
novellas,
very
right? Basically,
correct.
These are novellas.
Correct. And so you have Harrenhal, where it's all burned down, where Arya gets taken, and that's where she meets the Faceless Man and so on. Well, there was a prophecy that was told about Egg and whatnot, and Harrenhal is the result of that. Well, not only are there moments of here's Egg in adolescence, here's Egg and Duncan as the King's Guard and King, and so on and so forth. So there, and the roadmap has been set out by the showrunner where he's like, I want to do 5 seasons as adolescents. And then I want to do another few seasons as adults. And then I want to do another few seasons as their end of days. So there's a lot of different things that you can really do with this and how you approach it.
The way they've done the first season, is this based on the very first novella, I'm guessing?
Yes, and there was only one moment that was left out, and the showrunner came out and was like, I made a mistake. This needed to be in it. I apologize. I will not make that mistake again.
So you're saying there's basically 10 novellas?
In a sense. There's a lot to it. And the graphic novel is something that I'm really trying to get my hands on to reread. But there's a lot that happens over the course of this story that is just so well done.
There is one question that has persisted since the very first episode. And I don't know if I even want to ask. I'll ask it. You decide if it should even be answered or if people should just watch the show or read the books to get the answer. Because I'm good either way. You know how I like kind of learning things as they come.
Ominous. Absolutely.
There is one question that has persisted throughout the season from the very first moments of the show starting. And that is in the title of the show, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Is Sir Duncan actually what he claims to be?
And that was revealed in the last episode.
It was not.
Yes, it was.
There was no answer.
Yes, there was. So in the finale, when he flashes back and he's with his knight, he boldly asks, "Why did you?"
Oh, he definitely asked, and you don't get a definitive answer. He said the knight always finishes his story. That's the answer he got.
Because he didn't hear the question. He was never knighted. That confirmed the entire theory that's been in the entire series from the moment the books were written, or the novellas, I should say.
Do we have an actual answer, though? Has Martin ever given us an answer then?
That episode confirmed it. That statement from Duncan was the confirmation. He has never been knighted.
I don't think that confirmed anything, though.
No, it absolutely did. There's been a whole thing on it. Trust me.
I don't care what other people are saying and what Reddit has come up with because
it's not Reddit. No, it's not Reddit. It is the entire. It is the official Game of Thrones thing. No, it is. He was never knighted. Period.
Now I have to go down this rabbit hole. I've been avoiding rabbit holes on the show to not spoil anything for me, but now I do need to go down this rabbit hole. Because if Martin himself has not said this is true, I have a very good theory about why it was said the way it was said.
So, because from what the timeline we had was and where we were at witnessing that moment, that's also where the series started.
I know.
He was never knighted.
You could easily argue. See, again, I don't think Martin said this. I think this is a bunch of fandom running with something and trying to prove their own theory. I think it could just as easily be argued and theorized that the way it was said and the way that the old man said it is because Duncan is a knight, and Duncan, it was another lesson of him telling Duncan what a knight has to do. And a true knight always finishes his story. Duncan's a true knight. He has to go finish his story. That's what he's doing next. He didn't jump on somebody else's story. He didn't follow a king or a prince or somebody else. He went to go do his story and finish his story.
I'll just go ahead and pop your bubble. It's in our chat, so you can look at it later, but it's already there.
Tell me, did Martin say it or not?
Yeah, that's what this whole article breaks down. He was never truly knighted. Period.
Did Martin say that? I don't want somebody's theorized article. I want to know that George R.R. Martin said he has been on record, especially with this last episode. He has indirectly said he is a non-knight status. Period. Which makes this whole series even more cool if that's the way we're going to go. But I think it's still a question and answer. That's what it sounds like to me.
The eggs have been planted. The seeds had been planted all along because it goes back to technically 3 episodes when they were getting ready to do the trial of the 7.
Yeah, because that's why he didn't knight. That's why he didn't knight the other dude because he's not a knight, so he can't.
He's never been knighted.
My wife and I have been on this since day one. Yeah, and we're thinking he's never actually been knighted. But the way the old man said that made me think the opposite.
Nope.
And be able to finally argue the devil's advocate side of it.
Nope. So he has never been truly knighted.
Look, and I'm going to be honest, even if George R.R. Martin did say that, I don't believe a fucking word out of that old man's mouth.
Until I get the Winds of Winter, you're absolutely right. I hate it, but you're right.
Pinky, it's over. Go watch it, binge it. You will binge the shit out of that.
And
quickly.
Pinky, by next week, this is my final thought for nonsense. I will be caught up on Paradise Season 2 fully. So I need you to do that so we can have our next show to discuss.
I mean, that's a big commitment to get all 3 episodes out of the way.
I believe you. I believe in you.
All 3 are out right now.
All 3. Oh, the first 3 episodes are out right now.
We can do it. The wife likes that show, so yeah, that's probably an easy one.
You can do it. I know you can. I have the day off tomorrow. I'll be watching the first 3 episodes and then figuring out the rest of my day until we do AEW.
Solid.
So I will have all 3 episodes watched, and we will be discussing, and I will not be waiting. Period.
Do it. Make it happen. On that note, Robert, final thoughts, good sir?
Paradise has started. Gen V has also started as well. I will be finishing episode 1, 2, and 3, hopefully also tomorrow. My plan is to get through that.
Yeah, you need to finish that so we can talk, because there's shit hits the fan so beautifully in that show.
Because I also have Monarch coming out to watch with Kurt Russell, so that's also a big one. And I've just got 5 TV shows right now that I have to find time around, as well as getting excited for new things like the God of War series that's coming out that has just had phenomenal casting. So it's just so great to be a nerd. So great.
Pinky, final thoughts, good sir?
Final thoughts. Gonna go hang with the fellas tomorrow. Watch some wrestling. Super excited. Toni Storm may be the greatest female wrestler. At least character.
She is the best man or woman on the mic in professional wrestling in any faction right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Cheers. I agree. She's amazing. So I'm hoping we get to see her. We are seeing a double taping AEW is live on Wednesdays, and then their Saturday show is Collision. We are seeing both of them tomorrow.
That'll be fun.
So it's going to be a good time with the fellas. And Robert left us already. All right. So final thought for you.
Maybe back. Maybe he won't.
Leave.
There he is.
I had to take care of something, but no, I'm super excited, and I just love that Pinky. The last 2 wrestling events we've gone to have been double taping, so we've got 4.
Yeah, you guys have been doing well with
We've
that.
gotten 4 shows back to back, so like I fully support this, and we should keep this tradition going.
Second half of the NBA season is in full swing. NCAA tournament is right around the corner.
We need to get our lineups. We got to get our fantasy stuff done for that.
We got time.
We've got to.
NFL Combine starts this week.
It's this week. Yeah, that's why Sean Payton announced that he was giving a play calling because it's the press conferences.
So Underwear Olympics comes up, so we'll be looking at draft, and I'll start deep diving for that and getting my guys and who I'm going to follow and try to make sure I still pick correctly over the years more often than not. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. On that note, if you have those moments with your inner circle, family, loved one, friends, whoever you consider that to be, do not take those moments for granted. Cherish them. Take advantage of them as often as you can. But we will. Like, follow, share. Please hit all the buttons down there that you can. I should say that at the beginning of the show from now on because everybody probably jumped off already. If you haven't, we appreciate you more than you know. Till next week. Peace.
Pinky in the building, repping orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. Hot take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side stride.